Welcome to our channel for CLAT aspirants, and this includes ALET as well. Some people saying, "Ma'am, can you give ALET passages?" When I say CLAT, it means ALET also. Let me just set up my chat on the phone, and then we can see you. I hope you can see me and hear me clearly. Give me a thumbs up if you can do that. If you can see and hear me, and we will start the session. So the passages that we are taking will help you for your law preparation, whether it is CLAT, ALET, whatever. Good evening, Mukti. All right, don't worry about ALET. ALET and CLAT, the English is the same. Sometimes ALET is easier, sometimes ALET is tougher, so it's the same. Good evening, Ayush. All right. So don't worry about that. Now I know that Govind is doing critical reasoning, so I'm focusing on English. But if you notice, there are critical reasoning questions there too. So that is going to help you for CLAT, for ALET. Remember, the test requires you to read, understand, and answer questions. CLAT essentially is throughout reading comprehension. In English, it is reading. In logical reasoning, it's reading. Even in GK, you have to read short passages, right? So, and legal, of course, you have to read. So, what we are doing in this session is we are helping you practice. I hope I am helping you build your reading skills. You read faster, read more accurately. I am not making the questions easier or tougher. The questions are from editorials. I prefer to pick questions from editorials. You are getting better at it. Good evening, Preetham. All right. Some of you wanted me to choose a passage from economy. I have chosen one. All right. Let's start. Again, as every time, the rules are simple. I'll show you each slide for 1 minute. You may be done earlier. Please type in done in the chat box so I have an idea what your average reading speed is. All right. And don't worry if you haven't finished reading the slide in 1 minute. You have been slightly slower. It will get better with practice, right? So whatever you have read, try to simplify it in your own words so that when we go to the second slide, you remember the main, at least the subject and some of the main points of slide one. Good evening, Saifi. Shall we start? Ready? All right. Your time starts now. All right. I will now show you the next slide. Nothing to worry if you don't remember the numbers. Just remember the overall pattern. All right. Okay, good. All right, done. Okay. How was the uh, not how was the passage? How did it read? Easy, medium, the language, overall language. Similar to any passage on economy, the language would be, let me get my pen right. The language is generally moderate to difficult. So the questions are not generally difficult. You find a lot of idiomatic expressions in it, right? There are certain terms which is used only in the finance and economy uh, areas. So there'll be a lot of those which are also there. Okay, so I'm not going to explain each and every idiomatic expression or word. You can guess in the context which the passage, the word had been used in the passage. So those of you who said it's easy and moderate, that is what you have done. You have tried to understand the meaning of the expression in the context of the passage, which is a very good thing. So, okay, let's start with the first question and then I will give you the, I'll summarize it for you. What is the main argument of the author of the passage? Again, I'll give you about a minute to answer this question. I will not take you back because main point we don't take you back to the passage. All right. Every option has certain words which have been used in the passage, has certain concepts which have been used in the passage. So, which one sums up the main argument best? The trends in private consumption and rural demand need to be addressed to sustain the good GDP growth. Rural demand is crucial to India's development, particularly in light of the new challenges. India cannot get investment unless it facilitates consumer spending. India is fast moving towards a virtuous cycle of investment, job creation, and overall economic growth. I have seen how many? 12 students and only 3 answers so far. Some more answers while we see my even my computer was hanging today. I was very doubtful whether this class I can hold this class or not. Got a new mouse. I hope it's moving too much. All right. India's resounding 8.2 GDP growth in 23-24 came with two worrying portents. We had a very good growth, 8.2. India scored a resounding victory over Bangladesh yesterday. So we had a resounding GDP growth, fantastic GDP growth, but it came with two worrying factors. What is that? The farm sector lost momentum due to an unhelpful monsoon. So one is farm sector did not do well, and second is private consumption spends rose at less than half the economy's pace. You expect private consumption. So farm sector was did not hold the momentum. Second, private consumption growth was less. 4-point growth in the private final consumption expenditure, that is the term used in economy, PFCE, was the weakest if you exclude the COVID statistics. This stemmed from the farm sector's woes that weighed down rural demand. Rain woes. Farm sector is always bothered by monsoon. Too much rain, too little rain, untimely rain, unseasonal rain. All that weighed down rural demand. Economists flagged a K-shaped consumption pattern of higher in good and services, seeing greater offtake than the rest. So some were high, then low, then high, so it was all over the place. A normal monsoon this year, it was hoped would help the farm sector and rural development rebound. They have gone, they have taken a beating, they'll rebound, they'll come back. and shore up overall consumptions to levels that will spur growth, that will push growth, as well as hasten an upstick in industrial capacity utilization to thresholds that compel private investors to ramp up. Basically, he's saying if consumption increases, growth will increase, and private investors will invest more. This much awaited outcome is vital for the virtuous cycle of more investment. So this is the virtuous, this is a good cycle. What is that? There is a vicious cycle which is harmful. As opposed to it, you have the virtuous cycle. When you have more investments, you have more jobs, and you have more investment and more jobs, you will have higher consumption. So it's all linked together. Next paragraph, next slide, what does he say? Again, the rural demand picked up, all this is good. However, a twist. So he basically says, look, growth numbers in the first quarter were saying that things are going good. However, there may be a twist in this tale with urban demand beginning to show some fatigue. So in the first quarter, urban demand was good, but now there are signs that urban demand may slowly show signs of fatigue. Trainers, they're not going to spend anymore. Just saying. Last Tuesday, S&P Standard and Poor Global Ratings, which expects India to grow at 6.8 this year. This is way lower than the 7.2 given by RBI. Said high interest rates are tempering urban demand. So these rating bodies said that urban demand is coming down. Temper means to become moderate. All right. RBI's consumer confidence survey for July shows a turn in the tide, with current and future confidence levels of urban buyers dropping. So even RBI's consumer survey shows this change that urban demand is stuttering, coming down. These trends warrant monitoring. We should monitor this and hope that the first festive fervor should trigger a course reversal. When there is festivals, people spend more. Consumption is more, spending is more. So they are hoping that with that, things will, the economy will improve. With wallets crimped by persistently high food inflation, that also clouds rate cut hope. So now one is there are high food inflation costs. Okay, so our wallets are getting hit badly, and so you can't. And because of this, because of food inflation, you can't expect rate cuts, interest rate cuts. Rate cut means interest rate cuts. The ability of urban Indians to create room for discretionary spends through festive season and beyond would be critical for growth as well as the virtuous private investment cycle. So, have you seen? A lot depends on urban Indian spending. They are hoping that festive season and beyond, the urban Indian will spend more and therefore will kick off the private investment cycle. Last part, he says, with the global oil prices turning benign. Benign means kind, means basically global oil prices have come down. Okay, the center must consider passing through the reduced cost. You get an idea. Turning benign, reduced cost. Now, even if you didn't know what it meant, you can link it up. If they are turning benign means have come down, and so the center should pass this cost reduction to consumers. So we should be able to buy petrol and diesel at lower cost. Cut taxes embedded into the retail fuel prices, a substantive fuel price cut, as opposed to token 2 rupees of relief per liter. We need a huge price cut. You're giving us 2 rupees per liter relief. That is not enough. The government had given a 2 rupee relief this March, but the author wants a substantive, big fuel price cut, not this 2 rupee cut can support the demanding economy. All right, many of you gave me the answer. A, what is the main argument? Yes, he wants private consumption to go up. He wants urban consumption to go up. Rural demand needs to be addressed to sustain good GDP. Yes, that's the correct word. Rural demand is crucial, particularly more than rural, it's urban demand. Okay. India cannot get investment unless it facilitates. He didn't say that. India must facilitate consumer spending. India is fast moving towards, he said, unless if urban demand goes up, if private consumption goes up, then the virtuous cycle of investment will kick off. Next, the author is most likely to agree with which of the following statements. I will take you back to the passage if you want, but you have to ask me. The demand, flux, and growth dynamics in India make development a challenge. Growth dynamics may falter with waning urban consumption in India. With global oil prices are expected to rise and world, this is global oil prices with Katlo. Global oil prices are expected to rise and will affect the Indian economy. The government should think about increasing costs for consumers and increasing taxes on fuel. What does the last paragraph say? Is the author asking for the government to? Okay, let me see answers. I'll show you the passage again, okay? Because the three, four answers I have seen so far are all wrong. So let's go back to the passage. First paragraph. He says that though we had an increase in GDP growth, there were two problems. One is farm sector lost momentum. Second, private consumption went down. Right? And so we were hoping there'll be a normal monsoon, there will be an overall consumption increase, which will lead to a virtuous cycle of more investments. First paragraph done. Second paragraph, what did he say? He said that there has been first quarter suggested that there are some good things happening, but while rural demand is rising, urban demand is beginning to show that it's going down, and therefore you are hoping that festive season people will spend more. Last para he says, with global oil prices turning benign means going down, center must pass this reduced cost to consumers. So global oil prices have come down. The government must pass this price reduction to the consumers. We must also get the benefit of that. All right. And instead of just a token 2 rupee cut, the government should give us a bigger fuel price cut. Correct? So now, where are we? Question 2, right? So first, let's go with 4. The government should think about increasing costs for consumers. He's not going to say. So D is now. Global oil prices are expected to rise. He said it's turning benign, and he didn't say anything about it going up. Growth dynamics may falter with waning urban. GDP shows that GDP has increased, numbers have increased, but there's a twist in the tail. This may be a problem because of urban consumption in India is showing signs of fatigue. Waning means coming down. So B, he did not say growth dynamics make development a challenge. Demand flux, he didn't exactly talk of this. A, he hasn't spoken of A actually. All right. Okay. Next one. What is the tone of the passage? Look at it carefully. What is the tone of the passage? GDP is significant, but it comes with some challenges. What are the challenges? This has gone up, but this has come down. So, overall, what is the author's tone when he is discussing the state of the Indian economy? Pessimistic, sardonic, cautious, or sanguine? What is the tone? Pessimistic, is it out and out negative? Sardonic, is it disdainful? Is he really critical of the government? Is it cautious, or is it sanguine, means optimistic? He is optimistic, but more than that, he is cautious because he's saying, well, growth is up, but there are challenges. What are the challenges? What should the government do? So, cautious is the Best thing, option C is the correct answer. Excellent. All of you gave that. But I want to see more answers. Only 4 or 5 I'm seeing. All right. This, let me see all 12 answers. I'll give you a minute for this answer. More than a minute. Come on. India Ratings reckons that real rural wage growth turned positive in July and is expected to stay positive, aided by cooling inflation. This bodes well for consumption. Just give me a second, guys. Let me get my uh, mic and some water. My mic is stuck somewhere. What is the answer? Do you want me to show you the passage? You can just read the sentence and decide the answer. Give me the question number with the answers, okay? Otherwise, be difficult for me to know what answer you have marked. What is the answer for question 4? What can you infer from this statement? India rating reckons that real rural wage growth turned positive in July and is expected to stay positive, aided by cooling inflation. What does cooling inflation mean? Prices are expected. This is what cooling inflation means, right? So, rural wage growth is expected to stay positive, which is good for consumption, means may increase consumption. Therefore, prices are expected to stabilize or decrease. This is the meaning of cooling inflation. Potentially leading, because boards means this is good. To board means to be a prediction, to forecast something. All right, so it lead increase spending. This is correct. Rural households, because rural wage growth has turned positive, we are thinking, okay, now they have more money to buy things, consumption will increase. Dismal outlook, this sentence at least does not say. So B is the correct answer. Excellent. Not only one, two also may have. See, Prithvi, if it had said rural households will have more disposable incomes, that is not correct. Here he has said potentially. This bodes well for consumption, means we can look forward to people buying more. Consumption means that. So, rural households may have more disposable income boosting. Why? Because of wage growth. So we can put 2 and 2 together and say may increase, which is why 2 is also correct. If I had said will increase, that is not correct. May increase, yes. All right. The author has mentioned a twist in the tale. What is the meaning of the twist in the tale? I'll take you back to the passage, but quickly read the options. Positive developments in rural consumption despite the challenges, rural demand rising in the face of declining urban demand, signs that urban demand is slowing down even though rural wages and spending are improving, decrease in production in the face of increasing consumption. All right, let's go to the passage. A twist in the tale may be imminent. What does the author mean by the twist in the tale? Literally, what does he mean? Okay, just look at the options. First part, and the twist in the tale is the twist to the first part. First part is all the positive things, right? That there was high rural demand signals have also perked up, real rural wage growth is improved, It is expected to stay positive. There is cooling inflation. There's expected to be more consumption. What is the twist in the tail? Urban demand is slowing down, right? So, which option does that? That would be a correct answer. Yeah, which one is the twist in the tail? Quickly, if I had even not given this, that would still be the right answer, right? Positive developments in rural consumption, despite the positive development, can never be a twist in the tail. Rural demand is rising in the face of urban demand. It is not unexpected for us to call it a twist in the tail. All right. Some students would mark B, okay, thinking this is the twist. No, no, no. Yes, the positive has been mentioned in terms of rural demand rising, and the twist in the tail is urban demand is decreasing. But, but that is not the twist in the tail. It is, we don't. It is not unexpected to have rural rise and urban going down. What is the twist in the tail is something totally unexpected, which will mar our happiness. The fact that despite one side something positive happening, another side something negative is happening. The signs that, see, this is rural demand is rising in the face of urban. That is not the twist. Twist is the there is not much difference between this and this, but here is, though rural wages and spending are improving, urban demand is slowing down. Okay, here it says rural demand is rising when urban demand is decreasing. That is the twist in the tail. No, the twist is urban demand going down. Earlier rural demand was down. All right, but now the problem is urban demand is slowing down when things have improved on the rural front. So C explains it better. All right, so it is C. All right, what is the basis? What is the author's assumption in the concluding lines of the passage? I'll give you a minute to answer this question. I want to see 15 answers, at least 10. Question 6. What is the answer? Ayush has given answer first, very quickly. Before 30 seconds were up, I want to see more answers. Mukta, Prithvi, Saifi, Preetam, Arman, where are your answers? Saifi, read all options and then give me an answer. Don't mark the first correct option. First option that looks correct. Anirudh, read again all the options and then decide. Arman, why the question mark? No question marks. You should be confident and mark. Okay, give me the answer without the question mark. A substantive fuel price cut. Substantive means significant, good enough, right? As opposed to the token 2 rupees can support demand in the economy. So author is saying if you give a good fuel price cut, that will support the demand in the economy. When I say do this, it's good for you, the assumption is whatever I'm saying works. So the author is thinking that a big fuel price cut will help to increase demand. Support demand is increase demand. That's the answer. A reduction will have an insignificant effect, exactly opposite in tone. Minimal relief. Earlier, he is criticizing the token 2 rupees, so he is not going to say minimal relief will stimulate demand. He cannot say that. He is saying you need a substantive fuel price demand as opposed to the minimal 2 rupee नाम के वास्ते junk that you gave, he is saying. So his main sentence is ignore this. A significant fuel price cut can help de- have demand in the economy, increase demand in the economy. So he will not support minimal. By lowering fuel costs, consumers will have more disposable income. True, some of you did not read this part. This is wrong. He did not. He is in support of increasing, cutting fuel price so that people will have more money. If people will have more money, they will spend more, buy stuff, creating a demand in the economy. Therefore, the correct answer is D. Reducing fuel price will need to increase consumer spending. The money that I'm using for petrol, and remember, when you cut fuel prices, other item prices will also come down, like transport, right? Vegetable prices will come down. Then people will have more money. There will be more to spend. So they will spend on other items. So government, if it cuts down fuel prices, the author says this is the author's assumption that this is what will lead to increased consumer spending. That is why he is saying one is that, and second is he says lead to wasteful expenditure. That's not why he is recommending it, right? So, okay, next, grammar question. I don't know what the passage had. I've changed it. I don't know if the passage had the right sentence or not. But which of these is correct grammatically? Each one may have some mistake or the other, and then I'll explain. You will be caught between two options, maybe even three, because we expect, I don't know, CLAT samples have been like 3 questions per passage. You expect them to give 5 or 6. If I remember the earlier samples, there was at least one grammar question, one vocabulary question per passage. Even ALET does that. So every time if I find something where a grammar concept can be explained, I will put that into the passage. Yeah, let me know what do you think is the right answer. Don't be afraid to make a mistake. There are very small differences. So you need to, when you are reading sentences like this, first find out what are the differences. Rural demand signals such as two-wheeler sales also had perked up, had also perked up, and this is also perked up. इसमें also had also, and this doesn't have had. And this one uses like. Correct? Arman has predicted what are the phrase where you. Okay, that is true. That is the area where there is confusion between B and C. Some students also do. So when you are giving examples, you use such as. Like is used to give, to talk about similarity. Like is followed by an object, that is one word, which is a noun or a pronoun. Okay, so it cannot be D. Okay, so had also, or also had, or just perked up. When a sentence, when you're talking about something which happened in the past, just one event, remember it's always simple past. You use had only when there are two actions and one happens before the other. All right. Okay, so C is the correct answer. Only when there are two actions and one happens before the other. I had logged in, but the class had started. I logged in, but the class had started. All right, quickly, what we have gone beyond our 30 minutes. What is the meaning of the expression a twist in the tail? A positive development, a predicted event, something unexpected, a tragic end. Give me the question number and the answer quickly. The moment I see the first answer, I'll give the answer and move on. What is the meaning of a twist in the tale? It's a story, it's a collection of stories by Jeffrey Archer, one student told me. A twist in the tale means something unexpected. All right, next. What does potents mean? But it came with significant potence. The potent is the noun form and potend is the verb form. Question 9. What is the meaning of potence? A sign. Okay, to portend means to indicate or to predict. All right, a sign or an omen or a prediction. All right, okay, good, excellent. All right, there are a lot of idiomatic expressions. I didn't ask you the meanings. Let's just fill in the blanks with the correct idiomatic expression quickly. Once the new marketing campaign launches, we expect the increased interest in our products to do what? To kick in, okay, take effect. All right, kick in means to take effect. All right, next one. After the heavy rains, the farmers felt dashed by the burden of his crop losses and mounting debts. What did the farmer feel? Question 11. Excellent. Question 10 done. 11. After the heavy rains, the farmer felt what? Felt weighed down, burdened, right? Affected. All right, next. It will be interesting to see how the events of this week will dash in the upcoming elections. Question 12. 11 is A, excellent. 12. It will be interesting to see how the events of this week will play out. Excellent. Develop. All right, last question. The government introduced new policies to dash the struggling economy. No brainer this because we've used up all the other options. Quickly. All right. Okay. To shore up. Okay. To boost. All right. I hope you enjoyed the session. I will see you again next Saturday with another passage. This time poem somebody had asked, but I found them too simple. So maybe one more on economy or science and technology. All right. See you guys. Bye bye.